Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are taking a look at the Vortex Model 1, and that's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now, this knife came to me by a big friend of the channel, Sharp Obsession, also known as Big Jim. He was kind enough to send this out to me. I had a review sample, and then I jacked up the pivot and didn't know how to put it together. So he kind of swooped in, saved the day, fixed that one, and sent me this one in the meantime. This will be going back to him. Now, there's a few things about this knife that I don't know because it seems like their existence from the internet has been scrubbed. So there's a few things I don't know, but the reason I'm doing a video anyway is because I've heard that there might be a second batch of these coming, and I know these things were like flying off the shelf. So please forgive me for the information I can't provide, but also be super pumped that you could get a second chance to buy these. So some of the things I don't know. I don't know the company that asked Tuya to OEM them, and I don't know who the specific designer is. But I do know that Tuya did the OEM work for this knife. Quite a fantastic job, if I might add. And jumping right into it, we've got titanium scales, front and back. We have T8 hardware for everything, including the pocket clip screws. We have a milled titanium deep carry pocket clip. We have a semi-floating backspacer. It's got some nice decorative jimps in it. And then we do have a spot for our lanyard lovers. As far as the blade goes, I will say, so I really like these grooves. They're super plain. So plain, in fact, that I almost skipped over them completely. But this design has enough going on that I feel like just something very subtle here to stop it from being a big blank canvas was a really thoughtful design direction to take it. Because you could have easily made this an eyesore just by having a whole bunch of different, cross hatching and diamonds and all sorts of weird stuff like that. Or it could have been totally blank, which would have been okay. But I think they did a good job going with the subtle, relaxed, easy to visually digest design like these four grooves here. So really happy with that. Now, as far as the blade goes, we've got the word escaped me, belt satin here and even up here, but then the belt satin runs out and turns into a hand satin for the flats. Hand satin's a little harder to see because the lines are admittedly really thin, but it's a hand satin nonetheless. So depending on where you catch the light, different parts of the blade illuminate, and I think it's really clean. We are rocking a hollow grind. One of the things I don't know is the blade steel. I believe it was M390. I'm like 85% sure it was M390. I might be wrong though. It might be 20 CV. I don't think it was Magna Cut. I'm pretty sure it was M390. But someone that knows more about this knife than I do, please let me know down in the comments. All right, so as far as the blade shape, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but I feel the urge to say reverse tanto is not a real blade shape. That's an imaginary made-up blade shape. And I know what you're going to say. Well, they were all made-up blade shapes until they weren't, until people accepted it. Yeah, I get that, okay? But reverse tanto is a made-up blade shape. It doesn't exist. And if it does exist, I'm going to pretend like it doesn't. So typically, I would categorize this as a sheep's foot because it meets my two requirements. One, the tip is below the pivot, and it's got a belly. However, it has a very aggressive tip. So arguably, you could say modified sheep's foot leaning towards a Wharncliffe. Or you could even say it's a Wharncliffe with a little bit of belly. So modified sheep's foot, modified Wharncliffe, I think those are acceptable. I don't think we need to fling the term reverse tanto anywhere. Now, is anyone saying this is a reverse tanto? No. But is it irritating me that reverse tanto exists? Yeah. So I'm just cramming it in here. That's what she said. Now, as far as the ergonomics go, it's not necessarily a neutral handle, but you've got like these really big, generous grooves because of just how big the handle is. So you got your pinky here, you got your middle and ring finger here, and then you've got your, your pointer finger kind of sits all by itself up here, right? This is in the choked back position, and I have all this room left. Now I wear large size glove hands. I can choke up a little bit. I can choke up a lot of bit. But no matter where I put my hand on this handle, it's not uncomfortable. Now, I will say that right here, there's a little bit of a corner there, but even whenever I'm pushing as hard as I can up the side, I still have, and this is me trying to poke myself, I still have some clearance between my finger and that tip. Now, if I'm not trying to push as hard as I can, I have a ton of clearance between my finger and that tip. So that is not something, as long as you're not a goober, that's not something you're gonna have to worry about. But the handle is very ergonomic, very comfortable. It's thick in all the right places. That's what she said. So back here, like you go thin, so you can have like, that precision. But as you get back here, it gets fatter and it just really kind of globs into your hand, right? It feels like you're holding on to something solid. So overall, ergonomics are excellent, very comfortable. It's heavy. This thing is heavy. Now, it does have the deception of feeling a little bit lighter because it's balanced fairly well. And typically when things are balanced, they feel a little bit lighter, even if it's just perceived lightness. But make no mistake, this thing is an absolute beefcake. You're gonna know this is in your pocket. You're gonna know this is in your hand. You're gonna know, look, you're gonna know, okay? If you own this knife, you're just gonna know. This thing's a monster. Jimping, non-functional. It's not gonna do anything for you. Too smooth and like bulbous. You can literally just kind of gloss right over it. You barely even know it's there. Now, don't get me wrong, you're still plenty locked in, but my thumb naturally wants to sit up here, and just a little bit of like actual jimping, I think would have gone just that little extra step towards really locking you in. Because right now it's like your thumb's just like, well, I guess I'll do whatever the hell I want to. And yeah. And as you can tell, my thumb's pretty beat up, so it's had enough of doing whatever the hell it wants to. I need some jimping to lock my ass in. Let's talk about the action. So this has a medium detent, right? Medium to light. And what that means is it doesn't take a ton of pressure to break the detent, right? But the reason they made it medium light is because this blade weighs about 4 pounds. So had they made it a strong detent, or even just a medium detent, it would have been incredibly difficult to actuate and flick out. So they lightened the detent, they made the blade 4 pounds, and now we have what feels like a strong detent. Despite that though, it is for the distinguished, the well-equipped, intelligent knife enthusiast, you can still fidget this knife. I'm exhausted. I'm not that guy. You really can't fidget this knife. You can't. I mean, like, yeah, you saw me do it a little bit, but it's not fun. I mean, doing it 2 or 3 times, it's like, thwack, that feels great. But now, like, my hand's cramping. It hurts. I just, need to stretch it out a bit. Oops. Yeah, so it's not the most fidgety, fun knife there ever was. The acoustics on it, however, are quite good. Nice loud click into place. Nice little click on the way down. Part of that click is coming from the external stop pins. I've seen people flick these, and it can be done, but okay, well, maybe I was just doing it wrong because that was surprisingly easy. Okay, never mind. I was about to go on a whole thing about how you can't use them as thumb studs, and it's, you know, it sucks because they look like thumb studs, but they're not. They're external stop pins. No, you could, there we go. You could flick them. It still hurts a little bit. Not like I'm a big wuss, so. But the acoustics are good. Lock bar access is a dream because it's got this very generous scallop. We've got room past the show scale. We've got room cut out here so we can more easily reach the lock bar. It's got a nice long travel, which means it's going to be like not loose in a bad way, but like kind of like easy to push over. It's not difficult at all. And I really respect how this isn't an absolute guillotine. Like, yes, it does drop shut, but it's not snapping shut to cut your finger off, right? It's pretty darn hydraulic for its size. So overall, I would say the action's pretty darn good. It is lefty friendly, not reversible. The clip is only for righties, but it's lefty friendly in the aspect of you can rest on the pocket clip without affecting, there we go, the lock bar. And that's a big thing for lefties, is because if you don't have something to rest on and you're pushing on the lock bar, you're going to lock yourself out of being able to open the knife, right? But because of the size of the knife and how much space you get with the lock bar, yeah, there we go. You can still manipulate it pretty easily if you were so inclined to do so. Because to my knowledge, they do not make lefty versions. Overall length on this bad boy, 9 inches. That's what she said. Not to me, though. Never said that to me. All right. So yeah, this thing is massive. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Civivi Altus. Completely dwarfed by it. Let's put it up against the Real Steel Sylph. Essentially the same thing. I don't even know why I have both of these in here. Like, I guess you could be the person that owns one and not the other, but like they're the exact same size basically. I should probably just drop down to one. Probably keep the Sylph in there and retire the Altus. Milled aluminum Civivi Brazen. This one's not going anywhere. Third best Civivi ever made, right behind the Visions. About 1.5 inches shy. And the Brazen is no slouch. Brazen's a full-size knife. And let's try one more. We'll do the ProTech TR3 Integrity Button Lock. And that's coming in maybe 1.25 inches shorter. So needless to say, this thing is an absolute taco monster of a knife. The cool thing is, though, with the 4-inch blade length, we have a 0.8%, or rather a 0.8 blade to handle ratio, or 80%, which is perfect. Like, that's where you start to get that illusion that there is almost a 50-50 split between the handle and the blade. That's really what Shirogorov goes for, is right around a 0.8 blade to handle ratio, sometimes up to like an 8.5, or a 0.85 rather. But that just basically means that the higher that number is, the more you're maximizing how much blade you have per handle, right? Like, we've all seen that knife where it was like, there's the handle, there's the blade, and you're like, what the hell? Like, nobody likes that. Very few people like that, right? But this, we all like this. Not this so much. Not this. We all like this, right? As far as the weight goes, this thing is coming in at a whopping 6.5 ounces. It is a hefty monster. And as far as the price goes, this was, I'm going off memory here. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they were $2.99. If I'm wrong, somebody let me know down in the comments, but I cannot find a price for it anywhere. I don't see it on White Mountain Knives. I don't see it on Tuya's website. So I may be highballing it, but I believe they were $2.99. And then if you use the discount for Tuya, you get, 10% off of that. So, $2.70 basically. So let's assume I'm right at $2.99. Is this knife worth it? Yes. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, yes. What I love about this knife is that it's function over form, right? This thing was built to work a certain way more than it was built to look a certain way. With that being said, this knife has a lot of personality. This knife has more personality than most. And even with that, it's still function over form, and that's because of how useful and how utilitarian this knife is, right? So it's got a ton of personality, but that personality is beaten out by just how functional the entire knife is. You take the fact that we've got a hollow grind on a blade this tall. If I had to slice boxes for the entire day, my arm might tire out because of the sheer girth of this monster, but this thing would slice. I mean, you'd be shredding through boxes. I mean, with a grind like that, yeah, no box is going to stop you. Not only that, you get so much blade to work with. Like, you could start in the box and you could travel you probably go 6 feet and you still have blade in the box. You wouldn't slip out. Not only that, but we've got this nice, robust tip, right? So all the poking tasks you need to do, any sticking or stabbing or Slurpee defense missions, you can do it all. It's all right here. Very robust tip. And then we come down here and we look at these ergonomics. You need to cut through a log. Okay, choke it back a little bit. You need to cut through some boxes. Okay, choke in the middle. You need to perform emergency surgery on a muskrat. Guess what? Get in here with these precision cuts, right? These fine, detailed, little bitty, we're going to save them cuts, right? Incredibly useful design. And I don't have it, but you can put a stop pin in there and make it fixed blade adjacent, right? Not as strong as a fixed blade, but what is that, like a 1/4 inch, right, of steel that you're going to put in there. So definitely fixed blade adjacent. This would, and I hope for nobody is this a collection piece. I hope every person that buys this beats the tar out of it, uses it for everything it's worth, because that's clearly what this knife was designed for. Like, I've got this guy, right? And I mean, yeah, it's a knife. It'll do knife stuff, but it's not going to do a fraction of what this guy does. This guy would quit halfway through the race, right? Like, you could buy this and you could use it, or you could buy it and it could be a collector's piece. I believe it's actually part of the collector series, right? So, I mean, it's kind of do whatever you want. This knife just kind of kicks the door and says, hey, put me to work. I'm ready to go. I'm a knife of action. I'm ready to get shit done, right? So yeah, absolutely worth it. So if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. I have ways down in the description to support the channel. Knifing is expensive. Knife YouTubing is more expensive. So if you want to help out with some shipping, go down to the description and you're going to see the stuff, okay? There will be no links for this knife because it's still currently unavailable. However, I will link Tuya's website. That's where the first batch was sold out at. And then I'll also link White Mountain Knives, because if Tuya gets a fresh batch, then I imagine White Mountain Knives will also get a fresh batch. At White Mountain, you get the 10% code S7 that you can use. And then at Tuya, I'm not cool enough to have a code there, but your favorite YouTubers all have codes for Tuya. So grab one of theirs and still get your 10% off. Other than that, follow me on Instagram at SEVRSEVN. And follow me on TikTok at the exact same thing, SEVRSEVN. I appreciate the love and support. You guys have been amazing. And until the next time, peace.